gamers, welcome to the Geek Chest. My name's Steve.
My name's Arnaz.
And today we are doing something we haven't done in a long time, which is go over the first episode of a new anime. Something we should probably do more often.
Sword Art Online. Let's talk about this.
Well, I want to talk about Gridman.
No, you know what?
Because
we'll just talk about probably the most exciting thing that's happened in a while since Overlord. Goblin
Berserk
Slayer.
2?
Goblin Slayer.
Goblin Slayer. Alright, we'll start with that. The next video we'll do Gridman.
You guys want to watch some soft porn? Go watch Goblin Slayer.
No, this is like that porn that you shouldn't be looking up because the FBI will find you. But anyways, if you guys haven't seen Goblin Slayer, essentially the start of the anime is you're following this priestess girl. Just finally is an adult.
She turned 15, people.
So she can go adventuring, and she gets put in the lowest class of adventure, which is porcelain. Because there's different classes. This is not something new for these kind of adventure animes. Kind of like... this one, I say, is more similar to Overlord. It doesn't have a video game feel to it, which is the thing I like. It's just like it's a very fantasy anime. And I'm going to bring up Berserk a lot, but it's more inclined to the system that's in Overlord, but the setting's more Berserk.
Well, the thing is, Steve is like, you have to watch this anime. We're going to do a review of it. I was like, fine, okay. I put it on. It starts off and it introduces what you think are the main protagonists. There's
the group that takes her in to go hunt some goblins. Henceforth, the title of the anime. Because they're all new adventurers. Goblins are supposed to be the easiest thing to go hunt. So they take on the quest and go on their merry little way.
Yeah, and then it goes into like pretty detailed information about everyone. You get to learn about everyone. Like one of the girls, like the mage from like the higher ups. There's a guy who's in his village, like where he beat up goblins. So you get a little backstory to each character.
Yeah, they all not as much as the manga. The manga goes into it a little bit more and ties in some of the stuff a little bit better, which to me, I kind of like the anime the way they did, because it's nice to get a decent amount of backstory for somebody, but essentially what this episode was 2 chapters in the manga.
Yeah.
So they cut some stuff, and personally, I kind of liked it.
Yeah, I don't need somebody's entire life backstory, but I need enough just to get invested. You know, just so when it turns dark, you feel super bad, and that's what this anime is.
Yeah, because initially what I was thinking this was maybe like, I'm gonna go with Overlord bad. I didn't think I was gonna get Berserk, like old-fashioned Berserk, not the new one.
Yeah, I was about to say the new Berserk. It's not that violent.
It gets there, but not really, which is kind of my issue, because the overarching story of this video is going to be, this is what Berserk should have been.
Yeah.
Just saying, because the animation's actually pretty good. Like, initially looking at it, I was like, okay, this kind of seems like middle-of-the-road animation, but actually pretty solid. But as they go through the cave, you get little nods of what's going to go south, which I kind of appreciate. Because even, like, eventually when he shows up, it falls in line with this. But as they're going through the cave, like, the one guy's, like, fudging around, be like, oh, man, I hope we, like, come across some demons, some dragons, like, let's get this adventure going. And he's, like, his sword's hitting the top of the roof, or the top of the cave.
Which is too big.
Yeah, and the one girl, you get the feelings a little bit full of herself.
The magician one.
And the fighter girl was the one that I felt like was probably the most confident of all of them. But she's like, it's okay, I'll protect you. Which
I felt the worst for her.
Well, yeah. Well, I feel bad for both of them. Like, the guy's the one I feel the least about. Because what happens is they go through the cave, the two fighters essentially get a little bit ahead. And the mage and the priestess fall a little bit behind. And they hear stuff coming up behind them, which is the goblins.
Which they set up trap, which is also like one of the things where they set it up in the anime. One of the little hints that Steve was talking about earlier is they set up these things where you would be paying attention to them, and not paying attention to the extra cave behind them.
Yeah, which is brought up later. But like you see, like, oh, why is this here? Huh? Who knows? Keeps on going. But what that was like a distraction. Like, you're supposed to be focusing on this because of the way the lighting is.
Yeah.
So they get up behind. The one girl like does her spell, hits him with a fireball. She's like, "Yeah, I can do this." Like, I'm the best magician around. I
This is where
I graduated from the school.
in my mindset was like, okay, I see where this is going. So they're gonna be a lot stronger than they appear, right? So I'm like, here I go again, just another typical anime, and it just goes south. Like,
yeah, like they take her down, they stab her. So the other guy shows up, tries to be the hero. Eventually, swinging that sword, hits a random part of the cave.
And this is where the whole backstory comes in, because he's like talking about how he, back in his village, he beat up a bunch of goblins. So you think he's gonna do something. But then when you actually see him fighting, you can tell it's just going back, because he's just randomly swinging sword, not hitting anyone.
Like, you see the inexperience.
Yeah, he's panicking. And then it just happens. Like, oh my god, they stab him. They cut his arms up into pieces.
Yeah, they just kind of go to town on him. And then the fighter girl is like, tells the priest girl to run away. They start fighting. She starts fighting, holding her own pretty confidently. And then there's a hobgoblin, which you find out is pretty much the next tier up from goblin. Like, porcelain level people should not be fighting a hobgoblin.
Yeah.
But they didn't really know that like something like this was going to happen when they fight goblins, because goblins in their world is seen as a like lower tier creature. So nobody really wants to deal with them for the pay.
Yeah.
So hobgoblin gets a hold of her, messes her up, and then
Oh, he breaks her leg, though.
yeah,
Oh.
and then bad things happen to her.
By bad things happen, she gets stripped of her clothes, and then a goblin walks behind her.
You can imagine the rest. Like they don't fully show it, but you get enough to feel really, really uncomfortable watching. Like, this is a part where I was like, here it is, I got an anime for you to watch.
Oh, it was so
I
bad.
can't be the only one to experience this.
He like grabs her butt cheeks and like he just digs his nails in, and like
Yeah.
it shows all of this, and she just starts screaming.
But it's funny because like you see a lot of that, but then it's like, but they won't show you like JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, like the one like I'm trying to catch back up, and there's a part where like this one stand like rips out the people's tongues, and they black it out.
Yeah.
But I get to see the majority of this happen.
And then, like, 10 seconds in after shows her getting destroyed, like, it goes back in the scene and her entire body is just doing the whole motion, and she's doing the face, you know, where she's like...
It's just like the blacked out face. But anyways, moving on with the priestess trying to save the other girl, but of course they don't make it very far. She gets hit with an arrow. And then they go to do the same thing to the other girl that got stabbed. But this is where we get introduced to the Goblin Slayer.
Finally somebody good.
Which, to me, is like the part of the anime where I feel like they did a fairly overpowered character right. Like, sometimes it just comes off as like kind of cheesy. Like, for instance, like, not to knock one of your favorite animes, but Sword Art Online, where like Kirito's overpowered, it's just not...
He's not overpowered.
He's overpowered.
He's experienced because he went through this in a beta. So he knows how to do everything. Like, where these
but that's
characters...
like a lot of the characters, though, that are overpowered animes. Because they got, like... There's a reason they're overpowered. But for him, it's like... He never had, like, a cool moment.
Yeah, he did.
Like, right off the get-go, when we meet Kirito, there's, like, something that makes me gravitate towards him because he's awesome.
Yeah. He's a whiny little...
Exactly.
bleep.
Like, for instance, All Might, when you first get introduced to All Might, has like that really awesome mystique about him, and every time he's just on the screen, he has like a presence.
No, he don't. He's also a little bleep.
I'd say you haven't seen Seven Deadly Sins, but there's Garland? Is that how you say his name? I'm trying to remember.
Oh,
The Lion Pride. Like he's another one. Great introduction.
I saw Seven Deadly Sins, not just the one that you're talking about. I saw the different kind of Seven Deadly Sins.
Oh, okay. Well, anyways, so he shows.
It's an anime. And it's on Funimation.
It's
on Funimation.
But yeah, so goblins go to attack our Goblin Slayer guy. Just get wrecked.
Well, no, one of them stabbed him with the knife.
But he has the chainmail and the armor to defend it, and then just shoves it against the wall and stabs it in the face with the torch.
Ah, that was great. Good times. Burn him up.
And this is where he starts going through the emotions, like, the reason why they fail. right?
Yeah.
Because they didn't pay attention to tricks, they didn't have the right equipment, and it's pretty much you find out that this is what this guy does for a living, and he's also was it silver class?
Yeah. He was higher up.
So he's like 3rd tier from the top, and all he does is kill goblins, which is considered one of the lowest things you can do, and he made 3rd from the top just from doing that.
So it's telling you there's more to this backstory. I got feeling like he might be something Goblin or something to do with Goblin. Because, like, one of the things is...
I could tell you, but I don't want to ruin it for new people.
Yeah, don't tell me. But the thing is, it's how goblins reproduce is they kidnapped women and younger women from villages, and they...
That's how goblins do.
Yeah.
So they eventually... You find out that the magician girl, like, she's just dead. Like, the reason why, because she was trying to use her healing magic on her, why it wasn't going to work is because she got poisoned. Because the knives that they have are coated in a bunch of disgusting stuff. So essentially, she had more than just a poison. She had like a serious infection. So antidotes just at that point weren't what she needed. So he pretty much puts her out of misery, and that's where you're like, again, this anime got really dark really quick. So they eventually make it through the cave, goes through the demotions of the sword that he used was too long for something like this.
He pretty much shows them everyone the weaknesses, and then he gets to the...
Yeah, I love the part, too, where he, like, throws the sword into the water. She's like, aren't you going to pick it up? And he's like, it's got too much blood, like, the blood and the fat on it now made the sword useless. He's like, this is fine. Just starts picking up their weapons.
I love that. And then he finally finds the hidden room where the goblin kids were, which I thought was the greatest thing ever.
Yeah, after taking... Yeah, he's just like, wait, whoa. You're going to kill the children? He's like, yeah.
He's like, if you don't, they'll just go to another tribe, and in a few weeks, he's like, they'll be kidnapping other women.
Yeah, it's like they learn.
Yeah.
Like, that was the big thing that he's kind of like pushing for is like, you can't let them survive. Because they learn from their mistakes. They hold grudges. So even if they're cute and innocent, it don't matter.
Yeah.
They are going to come for you no matter what.
Oh, and the noises they made when he killed them. That was great. Thank you. I appreciated that.
This is where we found out when Arnez got dark.
Oh.
But she makes it back safely anyways. The monk girl makes it back too. But she's essentially done. So they get back to the quest, and pretty much at that point we have our first pairing, which is the Goblin Slayer and the Priestess. And that's essentially where this episode ends.
Yep. And that's where this review ends. Thank you guys for watching. We'll see you later. Bye-bye.
Anyways, I thought the anime was pretty sweet. It was something I knew of the anime enough that I needed to watch it, but I wasn't expecting what I was in for.
Yeah, like, I seen it on Facebook and read some stuff, but I didn't think it was going to be, like, this bad. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's fairly dark, like Devilman Berserk dark.
Overall, go watch it. You can't go wrong. Even if you don't like it off the first episode, you will know if you're into it or not right away.
Yeah, it's sort of like our Monster Musume review, where it's like, just give it a shot. You'll find out pretty quick if it's not your thing. Well, this one, Monster Musume is like, give it 5 minutes, you'll know.
Yeah.
This one, I'd say...
About 15, I think it is.
Yeah, I give it like 10, 15 minutes. And if you're like, I feel like I need to turn the channel, by all means. But for us, I'm actually pretty excited to see where this is going to go.
Yeah, I like the fall season lineup so far.
But we'll be doing some more anime videos here in the near future. We're going to do a 2-piece because we both watched the anime. Well, I watched one, he watched one. So we're just going to go with it.
Mine's better.
I think mine's better.
Mine's better.
Mine better.
Mine.
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 Mine. And help us defeat those kaijus by hitting that like button,
Mine.
subscribe, become a ranger today. See you guys in the next video.
Mine.